everybody, this is Karina from Karina's Handmade Designs. I'm very excited to show you my very first junk journal for 2016. It's actually been about 6 months since I've made my last journal, and unfortunately last year I had a major heart attack and a triple bypass, and that kind of laid me out for about 6 months now. I'm fully recovered and I'm doing well, but very excited to show you my very first junk journal. I forgot how much I enjoyed making them. Now, what I did, this is cardboard box that I got from one of the kids' snacks. I've got 3 children, 2 of them go to school, so I'm always buying snacks. And you can see this is I made the cover from a snacks box. The journal itself is about, let me see, 5 inches by I think just over 6.5, and I covered it first with some wrapping paper, and then I did a little bit of mixed media, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 signatures that I sewed in, and then over that I've got a doily. I have, you can see a little bit of a sheen. That was made with some watercolors, which I showcase in a little bit, but I also Mod Podge, but I do make my own Mod Podge, half water and half PVA glue. I find that works perfectly fine with the ones that I've done, and it just gives it a bit of a protection, especially because it is paper that you're working with. And hi Mum, this is a flower that my mum made, and she's a sweet person. She loves making cards, and when I started making journals and she knew that I needed some flowers, she started making them and sending them to me. And she also made this lovely butterfly for me, and as you can see, it's just so beautiful and shimmery. And then I've got a little button here, I think it's one of the Tim Holtz ones, and it says believe, and I thought it was just lovely. This is a photocopy from that I took. I think I googled flower pots, and this came up, and I really liked it, and I used it, so I'm quite happy with how that turned out. The inside, I used napkins. I love using napkins. I love how it just they're wrinkled when you're using the Mod Podge with it, and I love that look. Now, I don't know if you can see all that shimmer there. I actually used, I love Smiggles. It's a store here in Australia, and these are called metallic watercolor crayons. It's a 12-pack, water soluble, and they are utterly gorgeous. As you can see, they've got lots of different colors. I'm not endorsed by them or anything like that, but since I found them, I use them quite often. They're a size of, I would say, lipstick, and they're like a crayon. You can use them on their own, or you can actually use it with a bit of water, and they just literally glide over the paper. It's really lovely, and as you can see, it just gives it that shimmer. And I used it here as well, so, and yes, I just think it gives it a lovely effect. And then I make a lot of my own things to put into my journals. I find that I love having lots of stamps. I actually have lots of stamps, and I tend to I love Dr. Seuss. Today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you. I just love that quote, and I do make a lot of these. I tend to make quite a lot, and then I put them in my little plastic bags. I've got this one that says quotes, and when I'm making my junk journals, then it's a lot easier to go through and grab what I want. I tend to make a lot of those. That way I always have something, and they're handy and they're easy to use. The same things when I need flowers. I tend to cut a lot of different ones, especially when I've got a lot of scrap paper left, and then that's easy. I can just go into my stash and use what I've got instead of having to go through, grab the punch, go and find a suitable paper. I just have everything ready and handy. The same thing, I do these envelopes. I tend to find them at, you know, Red Dot, Kmart, some of the specialty stores, but I love also going to garage sales and thrift op shops or thrift stores, and finding, I think these ones for about 50 cents for a packet of 20, you know. And then what I do, I sit down and grab all 20 with different scrap paper, and as you can see, I've covered and glue the inside just to make it pretty. I generally don't go all the way through, just to make it look nice when you first see it. And then I've got a stash, and then I can use what I need when I'm making them, so I'm not stopping making something and then having to go an embellishment and then having to go and start again. So I tend to do that quite often. Okay, so that's what I do. The same thing with these, I printed them, and then I usually my son had this left, this paper, graph paper last year from his school, and I basically dye them, coffee dye them, stain them, and then use them as backgrounds. So that's sort of what I do. With my coffee staining, I live in Australia, so I live in Western Australia. It is very hot. It's very normal to be 40 degrees plus, so using an oven to dry my paper just doesn't work here. So what I tend to do, I actually tend to brush them and paint the coffee onto the A4 paper, just normal photocopy paper. I tend to leave them outside literally sometimes for just a couple of hours, and they dry. They have a nice texture. I love the way that paint sometimes gives them different effects, and so that's what I do. Yeah, another thing that I do, I love using doilies to embellish and to sort of do these pockets, but I found that doilies, the ones that I buy usually for a few dollars, are quite flimsy and they tend to break quite easily. So I'm pretty sure I found this on YouTube, someone else was doing it, and thank you for that. I can't remember where I saw it, but they used paper behind it, and it just gives them, you know, makes them still look pretty, but it gives them a little bit more sturdiness. So I love doing that now to all my doilies. So I've got four signatures here, and love, like I said, using my envelopes. I tend to, each signature at the beginning, it has a scrap piece of paper, and then I use mostly just my coffee dye paper, and I always like to have a bit of a pocket. These I make myself, my own embellishments. Like I said, I used to initially just stamp my sayings on the paper, which is lovely, and I still do that. But then I saw someone actually doing this on another video, and they use the white cardstock, and then they sort of embellish it and make it pretty, and I find that works. Oh, excuse me, shadow there. That works really well. And again, I make a whole heap of these all at once, and then I've got my stash. So again, just wanted to show, this is my very messy desk. I have two desks in my craft room, and yes, as you can sort of see by my, it is extremely messy. I've only just finished making another junk journal, which once I finish the front cover, I'll be able to do another video. Now this again, I did two doilies, different sizes, and then the paper, but I used some wool fibers, and again I saw that from another YouTuber, and I love watching new videos. Just tend to see something that I really like from someone else, and then try and sort of make it my own, and you know, sort of put my own spin to it. Again, this is lovely. I photocopied, sorry. I stamped it, the word remember, and then I used 3 different three different scrap papers to make that embellishment. That's probably just yeah, that's some of the scrap paper left. This our local news agency here actually have, which is, I was very surprised, had a pad of writing paper. Was only, I think, about $2.50 for about 50 pieces of paper, a writing pad, and I really liked it. I mean, it's perfect colour, it's got lovely embellishment at the bottom, and so I bought that. Another of my downloads that I have, this is from I think I was in Perth a few months ago. I went to one of those discount stores, and oh, I had a range there, sorry about that, and I found these postcards. There were, I think, 20 for $2, different travel sort of theme, and I liked that, and I thought it was so cute, and I had to have it. So I love op shopping. I find a lot of stuff through op shops as well, and but this time around I found it in one of those discount stores. Again, one of my photocopies, I find the paper sometimes can be quite flimsy, so I tend to back them up with either coffee dyed paper, or this time I did just a book page. So again, I op shop, I find books, and then I have them for this. And yep, that's just a stamp that I have. Like, once again, one of my embellishments that I've made. I like making my own. I've got lots of stamps. Sorry guys, I'm back. My camera decided to stop working for a second there, so I've lost my train of thought, so let's see where I am. Okay, so like I said, I've got 4 signatures, and I like making my own embellishments, and as you can see, your laughter makes my heart smile. I like photocopying, and then, like I said, backing it up. This is with an backed it up with a book page, and then I painted it. I just thought it's easy then to write. I like stamping as well. I've got lots of stamps. Use envelopes again. This is quite a plain one. The next one that I'm gonna have a video, you'll see that I've gone to town and embellished it a lot more, but for my first one I thought that was pretty good. There are places to be able to put things in, but this is a journal, so I've left a lot of the pages quite plain, and whoever gets this will be able to sort of add things, but then, you know, there's things to tuck things there. I might, before there is a store that I'm having on Monday that I'm going to, and I may decide to embellish it a little bit more before I sell it. So that's another one that I've made with a bigger doily, and again use the paper. So just a couple of things. This is my, hopefully you can see it, Karina's Handmade Designs. That's my card, and I actually had this made. I hope this stamp made. Hopefully you can see it. Oh, there it is, created by Karina. I think it cost about $5 on eBay. It did take about a month to come, so if you don't mind waiting, I think it's lovely. It's a stamp that I can stamp with any color I want, and it kind of gives it a personal touch. And all I could do was created by or made by, I think was the choice, and then the one word. So I couldn't go to town and sort of put lots of, you know, my whole name. So I decided that Karina was fine, but I do usually then put a card inside. So if people, I find that a lot of people then will contact me to make some more. So that's a great way of, if they lose this, they can still, you know, remember who I am. And I am on Facebook. It's called Karina's Handmade Designs. Again, this is the last page, and I used the napkin again. If you haven't used napkins, try it. I was going to put an envelope, but I just thought it was far too pretty to yeah, to cover. So I decided to leave it as is. And very simple closure. I tend to not do the fancy closure. I'm not ready for that yet. I've only been doing junk journals for about a year, and I just find this is a great way of closing my journals. And so I hope you've enjoyed. If you've got any questions on anything that I've done or you want to see more of, yeah, just write me a comment. If not, you can go on my Facebook page. I do sell them. I tend to sell locally only. I don't have an Etsy store or anything like that. I tend to just enjoy selling in my local country town that I live in. I think I'm the only one that does this in my country town. So last year I was doing really well before the heart attack. I was probably making at least 2 or 3 a month for the first 6 months, and then everything kind of stopped after my heart attack. It's just one of those things that happens. And but I'm back, and I've stopped working, and I want to start doing this. So I do have a stall coming up next week. I've made about half a dozen of these. I actually do other things that I can show you in another video of things that I make. So yes, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye.